Hello, Meoni here, and welcome to another video for Final Fantasy XIV with patch 5.2 additions, and this time around we're going to be taking a look at all of the G-Pose features, or at least the ones we can look at today in this patch. So first of all, let's hop into G-Pose. Okay, so here we are in G-Pose. I have hidden the UI for a second so we can look at this wonderful image of a Meoni blowing a kiss to the little Leafman minion that we looked at in a previous video, but this is to just illustrate the functions. I have no artistic qualities in this at all. So scroll lock, if you didn't know, on the keyboard actually, hides and shows the UI again, or whatever you've bound it to, but this is the new G-Pose settings and all of the new G-Pose stuff in this video we're going to look at. So first of all, the first thing you might see is this brand new help window. This is something you can turn off in the settings, I believe, although I've not done it myself yet. If we actually raise this in terms of size so we can read through this, on the left here we have all of the keyboard shortcuts for certain actions, and we also have the controller inputs for those same actions as well, such as displaying and hiding the settings, tilt, pan, etc. All the usual stuff, and then an annoying little bit of a box there telling you what G-Pose is. So we're going to scale this down to 60 and get rid of it. So first of all, what have we got in G-Pose? So, the usual sort of stuff here. So we're taking a picture, we've sized up the picture, we've tilted and we've panned, we've set up a load of settings, we've set up some lighting settings. As you can see here, we're giving it a bit of a red afterglow, sort of illuminate the love theme since it's Valentine's. It's a shame about the background being the housing district and its horrible gloominess, but maybe that represents the gloominess within us, or something like that. So we've got character lighting settings, all this stuff, right? So one of the main features of the new patch of 5.2 and the new edition is these two little book icons. You may see these, and if you click on the green one, this is essentially the save option, and the red one is to load settings. So on the save settings, you'll see at the top there's camera settings save. If we highlight over this, it tells you what exactly will be saved when you click this. It says the position, zoom, angle of view, and roll angle of your current camera. And the lighting settings, it says lightings 1 to 3, the position, type, and color, the character lighting setting, and the manual brightness setting. So if you've got any of that stuff altered, which we have in this particular image, we can go ahead and save those. Before you do that though, you'll see that there's actually little tick boxes. It says save preferences. So you can save either the character position affected by the camera, or camera position, and character position for lighting, and camera position for lighting. If we scroll over character position, it says settings are saved relative to your character's orientation. When loaded, settings will be adjusted based on the direction your character is facing. So that will snap to wherever you're facing at the current time. The other option is the camera position. Settings are saved relative to the camera's current position. When loaded, settings will be adjusted irrespective of the direction your character is facing. So there's those two options to choose from for both the camera and lighting. I'm going to go for camera position on both of them for this demo. You can just toggle between these as you like. Simply press save, and it will say camera settings saved, and same for lighting. If you want to save the lighting in particular. Now obviously there is only one save slot for this, so you're going to have to save the one sort of preset that you use the most, I would imagine. So let's say we go and we mess this up completely. We play around with lighting settings, we turn off the lighting settings, we change the position of the camera, etc. We zoom all the way out. In theory, we should then be able to go to the load button, press load, and there you go. How easy was that? So literally you could, make mistakes, you could save as you go to get the perfect picture. Maybe even in a different situation, you can replicate the same settings. For example, let's load up a different image. Let's actually go into G-Pose and create something else. So we'll jump to that. So once again, we're in G-Pose, this time with a completely different setting. You'll see here I'm with my relic weapon, and there's a nice sunrise. So sunrises, sunsets are some of my favorite things in the game, and a lot of the community loves to take pictures of these. But say for instance you wanted that same sort of setup, we can simply press the load button and load the lighting. Now obviously my character is facing that way. Now the other setting when we saved would have been based on the character position, but instead of the camera position that we chose. So that's our own fault for that particular shot. But you will note that the color settings have carried across, but based on where they were originally placed is where they are now. So obviously where we're facing is not where we were facing a minute ago. So if we come out of G-pose and we actually face the correct direction where that color originally was, in theory, in G-pose, when we go into it, we should be able to load those settings pretty accurately. That's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's a good replication. So this basically is ease of use. This makes it so that you can manipulate your images in the game to your heart's desire based on presets that you have. Say for instance, you have a certain set angle or an orientation or certain colors that you like to reuse in your images, or perhaps you want to go through content and have a screenshot essentially of the same pose but in lots of different places, then you could essentially do that. It would be really useful for machinimation or an album where essentially, you know, you're just stood there, or you're like sat in an area in a chair somewhere, then you sat in a chair in another area, but essentially it's the same framed camera angles, the same, you know, settings that you have loaded and the same lighting, which would be rather cool. The sort of stuff they do in movies. Now obviously this is just a sunset sort of setting here. So let's have a mess around with some of the other things added in 5.2. So the other stuff, other than those very helpful camera setting save options, is some new frames. Now, frames are usually things that some people use to sort of emphasize, you know, if they want a picture, like an instant camera picture. We've had those before. For the most part, they were fairly average. You'll notice that there are two little tags now. There's a square and a star. The square sort of diamond shape says unaffected by camera settings, and the star says affected by camera settings. This is differentiating between two different options. For example, with this picture frame, you see it's a diamond. This means that it would be unaffected by camera settings. So camera settings that you choose will not change this at all. And the star means that this is affected by camera settings. Another thing you'll notice is that if you zoom in and out of an image now in G-pose with a frame, the frame does not move, which is exceptional. And additionally, there are obviously lots of new frames. Let's just quickly go through these. So there are two different instant camera settings. We have the cinema screens. These are really good for if you want sort of cinematography scenes in Machinima, or, you know, just for your album. This one I really like, this simple one. It's quite flowery, you know, quite, you know, it's aesthetically pleasing. I would probably use it a bit. We have Journal, which is this gilt background. I love that border. I think it's exceptional. We also have Eternal Bond, which is a platinum version of the same thing, which again really frames that quite well. Then we have Elite Mark, so we're getting into silly stuff, but this is really, really quite useful for the sort of things that I will make in video creation. And no doubt some people will make some rather hilarious elite marks with their characters. And we have Elite Mark 2, which is a variant as well. So if you can see the difference between those, one's a gold mark essentially, and we have different images in the background there. We have Greater Rewards, we're a 5-star hunt. Better go and hunt Meoni because she will kick your ass. Right, we also have Ukiyo-e, and we have ornamental borders. I believe those were there before, but you can see the stars and the diamonds giving you different ideas of what you can do with those different frames. So there's a lot of options here, but for the most part, the main attraction is the save and load feature, which is going to save people a ton of time with the new G-pose stuff. And honestly, G-pose has come into its own. It might not be the most versatile tool, and people like to use third-party tools to inject presets such as reshade, etc. But this, along with that stuff, I would imagine will be like a screenshot as a G-poser's dream, let's say. Either way, thank you kindly for watching this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed this look at the 5.2 G-pose changes. Perhaps you haven't had time to check them out yourself, but at least now you know that these are some positive changes, and we're getting towards a system where we can make some truly exceptional screenshots with very little effort. All we need now is the ability to switch time of day in this mode, and then I think it will be completed. But until then, thank you kindly for watching, and I'll see you all next time.